welcome back to my channel. My name is Regina. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my birth story for my second child. Thank you so much for being here. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that you can see the latest content around motherhood pretty much. If you hear anything, it'll be the little baby, okay? Okay, so when I went into labor, of the week, I went into labor on a Wednesday, and it was pre-labor, because I went to the gym and I was just like, I was 39 weeks. No, I was 38 weeks in a few days. The day that I went into like early labor. So I started having contractions after I went and did a workout. I did like a really hard workout. I just did too much stuff. And I was just like, I was like, I really want to go ahead and have this baby. I just feel like my body at the end of this pregnancy is just going through a lot, and I just want to go ahead and have the baby. So after I left the gym that Wednesday, I started having contractions. And the contractions they were not intense at all. They were bearable. And I thought to myself, because I had to go to the hospital before because of dehydration. I thought I was just dehydrated because it's just been really challenging at the end of the pregnancy, right? Hi, beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so from there, I was telling my husband I started having contractions. I was just like, I'm gonna just drink a lot of extra water, So that happened like around 12 o'clock on that Wednesday, right? So then I just was like, okay, like, I'll take it easy. I'll rest in bed. Like, you know, I'm not gonna do anything extra. So then the next day, it had been like 24 hours plus of me dealing with these contractions. And I was like, man, these contractions are not going anywhere. Like, I think I should just go to the hospital and make sure everything is okay. So we ended up going into the hospital the next day, that Thursday. I think it was Thursday night. And they checked on the baby, they checked on me. They were like, you are not in, like, you know, past early labor. They were like, you're not ready just yet to stay in the hospital, be checked in and all this stuff. So I was like, okay. And so my midwife was like, okay, you can go back home, like, get you some breakfast and rest. And I was like, okay. So then it wasn't until I think we ended up getting home extremely early that I can't remember, but we ended up going back home probably late that night. And then on that Friday is when things started to really pick up. So that Friday, I rested some more, and I just was like praying. Like, I had been praying since Wednesday, but on Friday, I just started praying, and I was like, Lord, please let me have a break between these contractions, because I want a break. Like, I feel like I'm tired, and, you know, I feel like I won't be able to endure, you know, the actual full-blown labor. Friday evening, I had been having these contractions still all day on Friday. I think they were spaced out. They were 20 minutes apart, 10 minutes apart, and things like that from the beginning. So they were never consistent, right? It was evening at that time. I remember talking to my husband in the room with my son. I was just like, Sam, like, you know, we left the hospital and I don't know what things are gonna look like. He was just like, either way it go, the baby's gonna come one day. And I was just like, true. But I was just so ready. So I'm trying to remember. So at like 5 o'clock that Friday night, I ended up having bloody show. And I was praising God, but then at the same time I was like, okay, then that means that baby's probably going to be coming around the corner. And bloody show doesn't mean the time frame. It doesn't give you a time frame because it could take a week, 2 weeks, whatever. Well, I remember losing my mucus plug, and it was so intense. Like with my firstborn, I did not lose my mucus plug that big. But this one, it all started coming out, but it came out in 2 stages. So at like 5:20, I started having my first bloody show. It was a little bit. Then I went back and I think I had to use the restroom an hour later, like at 6:20. And I ended up having like a handful of bloody show is what it felt like the size of my palm. And so then I was like, okay, well, Sam, like I'm losing more bloody show. Bless you. And my husband was like, oh, okay, bless you. So then from there, I rested, put on a pad, or I think I put on the underwear. So after I put those on, I was just like, you know what, let me go get me a mango and eat a mango. By this time, it was like 7:30. I cut up my son a mango and I ate some of it, y'all. I sat back in that bed and literally I felt that pop of my water breaking. And I was just like, whoa, like my water broke. And Sam is just like, oh, okay. And like, he's just super calm, chill. Like he's not concerned. He's not the one in labor. He's not the one that gotta work to get the baby out. And it would, so I was just like, okay. I was like, honey, you're not showing me any expression, and he was just like, what for? I don't know. So then I was just like, okay, well, I need to get back in the shower because I think I had taken a shower already. So I said, I need to get back in the shower and I need to go ahead and clean up. And he had pulled all the sheets off the bed, had our son get up off the bed. And it was only a little bit. It wasn't a lot of amniotic fluid on our bed. So then I remember I got in the shower and I was like, okay, Sam, like go ahead and time these contractions. And so he would time them, or he would time 1 or 2 because he was trying to hurry up and get the car back ready. And he was trying to get my son ready. And so he was in and out of the bathroom with me. So we go ahead. So then I timed it, and these contractions immediately started out every 2 minutes, and they would last for like 30 seconds to 60 seconds. So I was like, oh wow, so then I was like, it really means that it's time to go ahead and go to the hospital. So then from there, we ended up packing up. At one point, I was trying to find a outfit for, good morning, how you doing? So from this point, I was trying to go ahead and find an outfit that I would be coming back home with. Hi, please don't touch it, okay? So then from there, so I found one, but then I would take breaks and I would come down to my knees and I was like, I can handle it. And I was able to handle the contractions. I was thinking to myself and I'm like, okay, So then I was like, Sam, we got to go ahead and hurry up. And he was like, I'm hurrying, And so then we got into the car and I have no idea what time we got into the car. But we got in and we drove to the hospital. And while we were in the car, it was just extremely uncomfortable. And like, I would have to like close my eyes, breathe, and pray through each contraction. And so then we get to the hospital, we get on the floor, and I let the ladies know at the desk. I was like, hey, I'm pretty sure I'm in labor this time. I said my water has broken and I've had quite a bit of bloody show. So then they were like, okay. So then I like walked to the the first room that they check you in. Yeah. And so when we got, so then from there at the desk, more of my water came out, and I was just like, oh, I'm having some more water, or I'm peeing on myself. I don't know what's happening. So then like they helped me. Well, they didn't really do anything. They didn't really get me cleaned up or nothing until I think I got to that room. So good job, buddy. So I got to the room, and I remember I was just like, I need to sit up and like rest on the bed. And the nurse was just like, yeah, I'm coming, okay? The nurse was like, oh, I really need, like, she was like, try to work with me. She wanted me to sit down on the bed so that she could monitor the baby and me and the contractions. And then I was just like, oh, like I was trying to do the intermittent monitoring. She was like, well, you've had a C-section before, so we can't do intermittent monitoring. And so I was just like, oh, okay. And I was just like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to sit down throughout all of this. So then we are all checked in, and she checks me, my cervix. I have no idea where I was, but I knew that I think I was maybe 5 centimeters at this point, maybe 4. I think the baby has descended a little bit. So then from there, we finally, hold on. So from there, we ended up going into, after they checked me, and I think I was like 4 or 5 centimeters dilated, they were able to say that the baby was lower too. So we go into the actual labor room, and I felt like it wasn't maybe 30 minutes. 30 minutes later was when, like in that room, nurses were coming in. They were getting the table set up and stuff like that. So they could tell, of course, from the monitoring, of course, that I was getting pretty further along within, like the baby was coming soon. So, because we got to the hospital around 9:20 or something, and my water had broken at like 7:20. So, I am asking for the epidural. I was like, can I please have the epidural? Like, I'm honestly not able to relax during these contractions. And I remember reading in the Supernatural childbirth book that she was just like, if you're not able to relax during your contractions, go ahead and just get the shot or whatever, and get the epidural. And I was just like, yeah, I was like, I'm not relaxing. Like, I'm breathing through these. And I kept breathing through everything, but I just felt like I couldn't relax, if that makes sense. So next thing you know, the anesthesiologist comes in and he says, hey, I'm gonna go ahead, and they did their procedure or whatever. He's like, I'm gonna go ahead and administer everything. He was so sweet, so gentle. My nurse was absolutely amazing. My nurse was phenomenal. But the anesthesiologist, they both really worked well together too for those 2 seconds. So he was like, as soon as you get this epidural, the baby's gonna be coming. And I was like, oh, and it felt like it was just a few minutes later. And I was like, wow, because I had no idea what time it was at this point. And but I was just like, okay, that's fine. I was like, awesome, so then next thing you know, there was a doctor that came in, and this doctor, I had no idea who he was. He never like introduced himself. He just came in making demands towards the nurses. He was kind of like not friendly, not welcoming. He did not, no thank you. He did not have like the best bedside manners at all, right? So the nurse was like, oh, I've never even worked with him before. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I don't know how many minutes later, but my midwife finally comes in, and she literally just shifts the whole room and she is calmly telling everybody what she needs. And then she calmly tells me, Regina, you need to go ahead and start pushing. And so I'm like, okay, like it's time to go. And I just felt so calm, and I felt at peace and everything. And I think she told me after the fact, after baby was born, that her heart rate started going down after the epidural, which I've read it, researched it, and learned that that can happen after you start getting these medications. So from there, so she comes in, she starts telling me to push. Sam was saying that she's like opening my vagina up and trying to get me ready to push this baby out. And so she was like, go ahead, Regina, start pushing. So I started pushing, and then she said, okay, take a deep breath, take your time, and then let's start pushing again. Because they wanted to go ahead and get the baby out just because. Sorry about the camera shaking. My son is right here. Hey. So she said, the baby's heart rate was going down, and so they were trying to hurry up to get the baby out. So I think I pushed 3 to 4 times, and then she was out. Like, Sam was so excited, and he was trying to video it, but then they told him not to. And so she was here. She's here. They laid her on my chest, and I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. They had talked about me trying to have a VBAC, and they just were, it was like they gave me no resistance about my VBAC in the hospital. And y'all, I have to share with you guys my prayer list. And I want to share with you guys how God answered those prayers. So anyway, we got our baby girl. They cleaned her up. My son was with us. It was in the middle of the night. I had baby by 12:17 the next day. So we got there. I got to the hospital around in the 9 o'clock hour, and then by 12 o'clock she was here. So I'm literally like in full-blown active labor from from the time I showered, so within the 8 o'clock hour, and had her by 12. So what is that, 4 to 5 hours? And that was one of the things that I prayed and asked the Lord for. They wiped her off, they cleaned her up, made sure she was okay. There was a ton of people in there, and my nurse was amazing. And then afterwards, my midwife ended up getting me, she said I had a small internal tear. She said it was really, really small. So I was like, oh, great, But then she told me that I had this extra layer of skin internally in my vagina. And she had asked me when she had did an exam on me a while back, like, hey, she asked me during labor, during the exam, do you want me to take this extra skin off? And she told me what it was called, but I don't remember. And I was just like, when she first told me, I was like, nobody out of all of my healthcare providers told me that there was this extra skin on my vagina. Why didn't they tell me? So I just was like, okay, whatever. But I was like, yes, I would like for it to be removed, because I know that it has gotten in the way of me having any tampons or using tampons. And I was just like, I always used to wonder, like, why was it so hard for me to use a tampon? So anyway, she was just like, yeah, it could get in the way. So from there, we had baby, got baby wiped off. My son screams, no, it's mine. And talking about the baby was his, thinking that they were going to take the baby away, I guess. And so, yeah, we are a family of 4, and so elated, so excited. We have a boy and a girl. God has really come through for us, redeemed our birth, and blessed it to go extremely well. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hold on, Zane. Hold on. Everybody's turning up. Sit down. Sit down. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so that you can see more content to come. Bye.